Be honest, do you find it literally impossible to turn off your work emails when you're on vacation? Like you're sitting on this gorgeous beach, but you're secretly refreshing your inbox under a towel? And maybe more importantly, do you ever get this sneaking suspicion that you're pricing yourself based on your past rather than your actual potential? It is a universal struggle, right? Whether you're a coach, a consultant, or an entrepreneur. The inability to truly unplug is directly tied to our inability to recognize and actually charge for our true value. So today, we're going to break down exactly why that is, and more importantly, how to fix it.
To really understand this, we're pulling back the curtain and diving into some incredible source material from a raw, highly vulnerable peer-to-peer mastermind call. We're talking about real professionals, coaches, and industry leaders putting themselves right in the hot seat and laying it all out there. We're going to uncover their candid discussions about burnout, the totally crippling effects of imposter syndrome, and how to finally get absolute clarity on your pricing. It's incredibly rare to get a look under the hood of a conversation this transparent, but let me tell you, the takeaways are just powerful.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today's core focus is knowing your worth in an AI-driven world. We're going to trace the journey from personal mindset all the way to actionable business strategy. By the time we wrap up, these mastermind insights might just fundamentally change how you view your own expertise. So let's dive right in.
Section 1. The power of unplugging. Why business clarity demands a true disconnect. Okay, so in this mastermind, a participant named Brittany admitted something so relatable. She confessed she was absolutely terrified to turn off her emails on vacation. She was totally convinced her business would just blow up without her. It actually took 3 whole days for her to shed that anxiety. But once she finally did, she spent an entire morning totally revamping what her business and coaching would look like for the next 6 to 12 months. And this just brilliantly illustrates a point made by another participant, Dean. He said, "Some of my best ideas have come on vacation because our minds get clear." Dean realized that for years, he was giving his heart, his mind, and his strength to his broker days essentially for free. Stepping back, physically and mentally, allowed him to see that you simply cannot level up your business while you are drowning in the daily grind of your current one. Section 2. Knowing your true worth, imposter syndrome, and the hot seat vulnerability.
Right, so once you step back and get that clarity, the very next hurdle is usually imposter syndrome. During this mastermind, Dean bravely jumped into the hot seat with a core business conflict that I know so many of us feel. $5,000. That is his current monthly baseline for teaching a few basic classes and coaching sessions. Now, it sounds like decent pay for a few days a week, but he wants to scale back his time and vastly increase his revenue for retirement. So, what's the problem? Well, he knows he provides massive value, but he severely lacks the confidence to raise his prices because he's terrified of insulting his lower-paying clients. Basically, he's stuck in a pricing model that reflects his past audience, not his current expertise.
So, how did the group respond? The group's facilitator, Jake, immediately identified this as an internal confidence issue. Jake shared this amazing story about a coach he was working with who literally felt physically sick to her stomach at the thought of charging her true worth. So Jake helped her create a $20,000 proposal for just 1 month of consulting work. At first, she couldn't even fathom it. But Jake pointed out a massive truth. It really only takes one person to say yes to a higher ticket thing to completely validate your new worth. And you have to hear this incredibly moment that followed. Another peer, Kit, chimed in with his own vulnerable anecdote. He had this massive pitch meeting in Minneapolis and honestly didn't know what to charge. But he channeled the confidence of the group, pushed right through that imposter syndrome, and walked into that meeting with who he thinks he is, deciding to demand $5,000 an hour. Now, whether he gets it or not, the victory was in refusing to dim his light. He realized he didn't need hundreds of clients, just a few who truly value what he brings to the table.
Which leads us perfectly to this tough love truth delivered brilliantly by a participant named Jody. Clients aren't just paying for services, they are paying for proximity to you. Jody pointed out that if someone complains they don't see the value in your coaching, well, that's their problem. You literally just have to let them walk out the door. The clients who stay are paying for the unique transformation that only happens when they're in proximity to your specific guidance and your energy. It is a total mindset shift.
Section 3. Finding your perfect audience. Strategies for upgrading your client base.
Of course, knowing your worth is only half the battle. If you're stuck with clients who just want freebies and constant handholding, you can't just squeeze more money out of them. You need actionable strategies to upgrade your roster entirely. So the mastermind group brainstormed this very specific 3-step playbook. First, audit your past roster of clients.
Comb through your old contacts and find the people you've successfully worked with before. Second, define their actual specific needs. Don't just invent some arbitrary avatar. Figure out what exact problems they are failing to solve on their own. And third, propose a high-value solution tailored directly to them. One coach did exactly this, reaching out saying, "Hey, I'm launching an exclusive program and I wanted you to be the first to know." Guess what? They had 9 past clients sign up on the very first day.
The group didn't stop there either. They fired off some brilliant, rapid-fire tactical advice to really capture this perfect audience. First, niche down. For instance, Dean realized he had massive success coaching husband and wife real estate teams. That is a highly specific, very premium niche. Next, collect and broadcast client testimonials. Seriously, scream your successes from the rooftops on Facebook and Google. Third, focus on the transformation you provide, not just the hours you put in. And finally, host a targeted masterclass to build instant community trust, and then follow up directly with the attendees to close those high-ticket deals.
Section 4. Emotional Intelligence over AI. Why human connection is your ultimate premium product. Okay, we have to address the elephant in the room. You're building confidence, you're finding premium clients, but there is this lingering anxiety in the professional world today. During the mastermind, participants confessed a very real fear that artificial intelligence tools like Claude and ChatGPT might soon replace their hard-earned value. Because hey, if AI can organize data and write strategies, what are the clients actually paying us for? Well, it's true. AI is fantastic at data organization, compressing a month of workflow into an hour and giving you an initial structure. But humans? Humans handle judgment. Humans handle empathy, complex negotiation, and deeply understanding clients' context. AI can absolutely outline a contract for you, but it cannot sit across from a terrified client and give them the emotional support they desperately need to make a massive life decision. If you find yourself constantly trying to guess where the tech is going next, try asking yourself a different question. What won't change? Well, clients will always complain about not having enough time. They will always need leverage. The 80-20 rule guarantees that most people will simply never bother to learn the tech themselves, which means done-for-you implementation remains a highly valuable premium service. And perhaps most importantly, in an era where you can't always tell what's real online anymore, 78% of business still comes from face-to-face trust. Human expertise isn't becoming obsolete, guys. It's actually becoming a rare luxury.
And this brings us to a really profound realization from the mastermind. The one thing AI does not do is provide that connection. EI over AI all day long. Actual intelligence and emotional intelligence, EI, are the true premium products of the future. It's the messy stuff, the judgment calls, the ability to act as a mirror that reflects a client's potential right back to them. That is why you can charge $5,000, $10,000, or even more. You aren't competing with a robot, you are partnering with it to get to the highly valuable human conversation even faster.
So what should you take away from all this? If you want to charge what you are genuinely worth, you have to disconnect to find clarity, push through that imposter syndrome, target the exact audience that needs your specific transformation, and lean heavily into the things a machine can never, ever replicate. Which leaves us with one final kind of provocative question. How are you utilizing your human advantage today? Really think about that as you look at your own pricing and the unique value you bring to the table. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope this sparks the exact confidence you need to take that next big leap.